Long-time viewers of the channel will know all too well the struggles I went through in order to get my PS2 library installed on a hard drive inside my PS2. I'd opted for a mechanical drive because I hadn't seen any evidence that an SSD would perform any better than that, so I didn't see the need to pay any more for no perceivable improvement. So anyway, this 1TB SSD arrived the other day. I got it for my new launch PS3 that I got a couple of weeks ago, just ahead of tripping it out. Putting a soft mod on it and installing all of my PS1, PS2 and PS3 games onto it. Well, assuming that they all fit, of course. But I was looking at this and I thought back to when I was setting up my PS2. What if I did use an SSD instead? Would I see the performance bump that a lot of people online are feeling all high and mighty about? Well, I'm nothing if not open-minded, so hello fellow gamers, and would it have been worth me using an SSD in my PS2 instead? So, today we're going to find out if using an SSD to run PS2 games actually brings with it improved performance and loading times when compared to using a mechanical drive instead. The reason why we're doing this is because there is a lot of debate over whether using an SSD over a regular hard drive will bring with it faster loading times on a PS2. Now, however true that may be for SSDs just in general, the argument is that the PS2 is bottlenecked by the interface on its own network adapter, so it would never even exceed the transfer speeds of a regular hard drive anyway. Now, in order to do a fair test, and since both drives are the same size, I cloned my existing PS2 drive onto the SSD so that everything was exactly the same. The same games, the same configuration, the same SATA connection, and they'll both be tested on the same PS2. Absolutely everything will be the same, except of course, the storage medium itself. So after about 7.5 hours, likely because I use USB caddies instead of putting them in the PC directly, the cloning process was finished, and I tried each of the drives with a handful of my existing games that are notorious for having long, or at least long-ish, loading times. Okay, time to reveal the truth. Is it worth using an SSD over a mechanical drive in a PS2? Let's find out. Well, what better series would be best to start off with than with Grand Theft Auto? These games took ages to load up on a PS2. But what about on these drives? Well, what we'll do first is we'll first measure how long both of these took on the initial boot up. That was always the worst, wasn't it? Time after time, whenever we reloaded the game, we'd sit there having to wait through all of this before we could even be let loose in Vice City. Wow! A whole 0.4 seconds faster on the SSD. Oh, all that time I could save using an SSD instead. I could take up crochet. Right, okay, that was the initial boot up. What about transitions between scenes? I'll measure it from when I can't control Tommy to when the scene text disappears. That seems about right, doesn't it? Huh, well, it's less than impressive. A whole 0.2 seconds of a difference. Let's try another transition. We're starting from the open world right into the first mission, and we'll measure it the same way, yeah? Aha, and wait, what? The SSD was slower? Oh wow, this is really winning me over here. Well, okay, fair enough. Let's try San Andreas instead. See if that one's any different. Now this, as many people know, is another GTA PS2 game that took far too long to load. Now what we'll do here is we'll measure this one from the point that the loading bar appears to the point where it disappears. I think that's fair enough for measure, right? Let's see how both of these do. Wait, what? Exactly the same? Oh, come on! I paid twice as much for this drive. I should get twice as much performance. Alright, fine. What about a transition to a different scene? We'll cut this one in time from when the text appears on the screen to when it disappears. But you know, I think we can already see a difference here. Yeah, there we go. The SSD was 0.2 seconds faster. Well, that makes up for the price. Okay, let's check out Half-Life next. Now, I remember this one taking quite a while to load when I first played it in a new players video oh so long ago. Let's see how much faster this is with the SSD and with the regular hard drive. Slower? Again? It was slower than a mechanical drive by nearly a quarter of a second? What the heck am I paying for? Fine. Maybe Burnout Revenge, another slow loading game, will redeem the SSD. This is supposed to be over twice as fast as the original hard drive. And plus this one's a pretty easy one to measure and all. Let's see how these do. So little difference loading up a track. It may as well be exactly the same. And what about getting back into the menu after a race? Is it any different there? And it's pretty much the same again. Alright, last slow game for today, Quake 3. Now I remember when I was playing this quite a lot in the past, I remember this one taking quite a long time to load before. So this time, let's load up a deathmatch and see what the difference is. We'll measure from the start to the end of this loading screen, see how they both do. And another, just a fraction of a second. I was really hoping for more, You'd think that there would be a big difference for something like a first-person shooter, Okay, well, what about when we're leaving the deathmatch and getting back to the main menu? Maybe it's a little bit faster there. I suppose it depends on how the game was coded, I guess. Barely anything at all. I mean, I suppose it is faster. Maybe a little bit. I guess. Well, what do you know? The SSD is generally faster than the mechanical drive in a PS2. Well, I'm convinced. I mean, seriously, I wouldn't have noticed any difference whatsoever if I weren't comparing these side by side, frame by frame. There was one instance where the SSD was faster by about 0.4 of a second, but every other time it was only like a fraction of a second difference either way. And considering the cost difference between a mechanical and an SSD, I'll stick with my mechanical drive, thanks. But does that mean that you should rule out an SSD for your PS2? Again, I'm being open-minded here. There are probably plenty of reasons why you might want to get one of these. I mean, firstly, it's definitely quieter than a mechanical drive. Not that I'm bothered by mine since I can't hear it anyway when I'm playing games. If you're doing speedruns, those tiniest of tiny faster loading times would definitely be useful. Not that most of us do speedruns or anything, so we're not bothered by that. If you move your PS2 around a lot, you needn't worry about potentially damaging the drive in transit. Except I just keep mine where it is, it doesn't go anywhere. Now, in fact, sarcasm aside, one true benefit is when you're trying to get games onto the drive initially. If you've got one of those third-party adapters that doesn't have a network port, the fastest way to get games onto your drive would be to connect it to your PC. And doing that would definitely be faster with an SSD than if you were to use a mechanical drive, there's no doubt about that. But since I have the official adapter with network connectivity, I just use the FTP instead. It may not be as fast, but it's a lot less fuss in the long run. I don't have to keep taking the drive out every time I want to put more games in it, or further run the risk of killing the laser in my PS2. So yeah, if those points are important to you, then go nuts. But as far as I'm concerned, those faster loading times that everyone keeps claiming, they most certainly do not justify the cost. And on that note, I'm signing off, so thanks very much for watching. What are you using in your PS2? Are you using an SSD, a mechanical drive? Or are you using a USB drive instead? Let everyone know down below in the comments. And hey, while you're down there, please leave a like if you like the video. And there's always that subscribe button if you want to hear more from me. Thanks again, and I'll catch you all next time.